Okay, hello, and welcome to my video of about 5 things that I think people either like to know or would like to know before their first heated yoga class. I get a lot of people asking, what should I expect? Is there anything I should know? Or if they do go to their first class and they were a little intimidated, these are 5 things that could help prepare you. All right, so let's get into it. Number one, being a vinyasa flow. So that's our chaturanga breakdown. If you're not familiar with that, I will show you. But a lot of times in heated yoga classes, so it's more of a vinyasa base. We call it power usually in the modern times. And that's going to be cleansing your palate before we either switch sides from our right to our left, or if we just need a little reset, that would be a vinyasa flow. So a teacher usually says, now go into your flow, and that would be the chaturanga breakdown. So I'll show you how it is. I'll show you how to do it and when to be prepared for it. So for a chaturanga breakdown, you are usually in a down dog first. So in your down dog, you want to try and make kind of a V with your body here. And it's okay if your heels do not touch the ground. Maybe pedal your heels out. Imagine your chest is being pulled into your thighs. So that's going to help engage more of a stretch here in your hamstrings and your shoulders. You want to check in with your wrists here. You want to make sure your fingertips aren't pointing towards the left or the right, that they're pointing forward. On an inhale, you'll inhale and shift into a high plank here. So you can kind of adjust your body here to be into your plank. I usually suggest to stare at the top of your mat here. It's going to help keep your head high instead of hanging it low. Our head is the heaviest part of our body, and it will feel heavier. I encourage to have your tailbone tucked in rather than out, and squeezing your core. So keep it nice and tight. Push through your fingertips here. And for into your flow, on your next inhale, you'll shift forward. So kind of picture your head being shifted past your fingertips a little bit, more towards the top of your mat. And then on your exhale, you bend your elbows, bring your belly, your chest, and your thighs to the mat. You'll stop about 90 degrees, where your elbows are 90 degrees, flip your toes, come up into an up dog. So you're pushing into the backs of your feet here to help your legs lift. Exhale, back to down dog, roll on top of your toes. That is a chaturanga flow. Now, chaturangas are very difficult. They're hard on the shoulders, especially if you don't have enough arm strength. So you have various options here. So if you don't want to start doing your chaturangas, you can always do this flow. On your inhale, shift into a high plank here. Then on your exhale, bend your elbows slowly. We don't ever want to drop our bodies fast. You can bring your chest, your belly, and your thighs all the way down to the mat, but very slowly. Still have your elbows tucked in. You want to have them hugging your rib cage here. Then you can untuck your toes. Inhale for a cobra, where you're keeping your legs on the mat here. Still a nice inhale. Exhale, roll onto your toes, down dog. And that is a flow. So that is when we're cleansing our palates, when we're switching from our left to right side. If you hear the teacher say, now go into your flow, that is what that means. Okay, so the next thing that I think is important to understand is the words reverse and revolve. So if you hear a teacher saying that, usually a reverse is we are stretching the opposite way and we are opening up and kind of, I call it paint the sky with whichever arm, whichever side you're on. So let's say you are in a triangle pose. Your toes are pointed towards the front, back toes at 45-degree angle, hip back, and leg straight. So we're in a triangle here. And you say reverse. That's where you paint the sky and you reverse it. And you have a nice side body stretch here. So that's any type of reverse. You could do a reverse warrior. So if you're in a warrior 2, just going to be around the same footwork, except your back foot will be more parallel to the short end of your mat. Bend into your right knee here, tailbone tucked. You're at a warrior 2, and you reverse. So you flip your palm, reverse it. Still bending into this leg here. And you can transition that into a reverse triangle by straightening your leg. Send your hip back. So that's another thing that is in flows that not many people understand, reverse. We also have revolve. So a revolve would be, let's say you're in a high lunge. So you can be in a lunge with your hands at heart center here. A revolve is twisting the opposite way pretty much that your body wants to twist. So if you hear them say revolve, instead of twisting probably the way you want to twist, which is going to be this way, where your same arm is on your same leg, that's not what a revolve is. You want to twist the opposite way. So we're kind of crunching our core here, and we're like kind of like a washer machine, and it's like twisting it. So it's cleansing all of our energy out. Just picture it kind of like a washing machine here. Revolve, twist. And what helps in these revolve poses, because it's so easy to collapse, you want to push your palms in together as much as you can. It's going to help engage your twist. Try and make your forearms parallel with each other and have your elbow on your knee here. And this is a revolve. You can have your gaze to the sky here. And there's ways to advance this, but we'll just stick with the basic revolve. So just imagine revolve is the opposite way you want to twist. And we're doing this because it's a nice washer machine twist here. We're getting everything out. We're wringing our torsos out. Okay, so that was 3. The next one is going to be whenever teachers say to listen to your body. So I know a lot of classes, teachers will begin with that. And I've had several people not necessarily not understand what it means because it's pretty self-explanatory, but what we actually are meaning. So whenever we say listen to your body, of course we mean do not push yourself if your body cannot be pushed to the limit that you're wanting to. Like let's say you're feeling tension, or let's say you're trying to go into a pose, your teeth is clenching, your jaw is clenching. That's a sign to like do less. So that's what we mean by listen to your body. So not necessarily saying not to push yourself, because yoga can be a challenge and it can be an area where you can push yourself, but listening to your actual body, listening to the signs. So listening for clenched teeth, for shoulders kind of crunching in. Those could all be signs to do a little bit less or to back off or to surrender a little bit. So it's more of our minds sometimes want to do things that our bodies don't. And so we need to have that mind and body connection. That's what yoga is. We always say mind and body connection. We need to think about, okay, my mind may want to do this and I may be hyped and I may want to do all these chaturangas and handstands, but how is my body going to feel after that? That's what we mean by listen to your body. We really want to try and have that mind and body connection. So the next tip or something to be prepared for are all the warriors. So we have a warrior 1, warrior 2, and warrior 3. I want to specifically touch on warrior 2 because this one's mostly used in vinyasa flows and power flows. We typically say warrior 3 is a little bit more advanced. So let's go ahead and just get the foundation of warrior 2 started, and that can help you build strength. So for a warrior 2, there's a couple ways to transition into it. So typically what I see in vinyasa classes is we are starting in a lunge, in a crescent lunge. So we have one leg in front, one leg behind. We're on our tippy toes here. We bend into our knee. Squeeze your inner thighs together here, and we have our biceps by our ears. So this is our crescent lunge. And from here, you can go into warrior 2. As you hinge, you twist towards where it's best for your hips to open up. So we're not twisting this way because that's a weird twist, a revolve, if you will. We're going to open up our hips. So you open up, swing your arms open to a T. And as you're doing that, you're also shifting your back foot to be parallel with the shorter end of your mat. So as we're doing that, we shift. We open as we're rotating our foot. Bend into your knee, whichever knee is in front. So this one's my right. So bend into your right knee here. And something to keep in mind is we want to protect our spine here. We don't want to have lumbar where our backs are kind of like a bubble butt here. You want to have it nice and tucked in. We want to protect our spine. So we like to use the term belly button to spine and kind of crunch your pelvic bowl in here. Arms at a T. Usually if you're in a mirror or if you have a class with a mirror, I always like to mention if you see your back arm, make it disappear. So you don't want it right here, back here. You don't want to be able to see it in the mirror. Your gaze is usually following your fingertips and you bend into your knee here. I like to cue, if you look down to your toes, make sure you can see your two big toes. So if your knee is crunching a little bit inside, you want to pull it out. Let's open the hips up here. And everybody's body is different, but the goal or something to imagine to get to doesn't mean you'll ever get there, and that's okay, but this is just something to help mentally. Imagine your thigh is going to be parallel with the floor here. So that's how much you want to bend into your knee, and that's how much you want to open up your hip. And that is warrior two. Those are some of the tips that I have for you to take for your very first heated, quicker, faster paced class. If you have any other questions or anything else you think I should explain better, let me know.